News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
A remarkable story of survival. But what about the other two? Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Tuesday, July 14th, 2015. Skies heavily overcast. Looks like it's raining all over western Montana, except not just on top of us. Skies extremely overcast. We have 52 degrees in Missoula. Our newscast is sponsored by Dr. Troy Doxey and the friendly team at Chiropractic Works, where they're dedicated to your chiropractic solutions. 728-0222 is the number. The father of a teenage girl who survived a small plane crash in the craggy, thickly forested mountains of north-central Washington state and emerged from the wilderness after hiking for a couple of days says she's doing remarkably well. The fate of her two step-grandparents, though, who were also on board, remained unclear, and a search continues for the plane wreckage. David Vetch of Bellingham, Washington, told reporters outside of Brewster Hospital late Monday his 16-year-old daughter, Autumn Vetch, is exhausted, but was able to joke with him about how they watch survival shows together. He calls her, quote, just an amazing kid, end quote. Three Rivers Hospital CEO Scott Graham has said the teen had no life-threatening injuries, but is dehydrated and suffering from a type of treatable muscle tissue breakdown caused by vigorous exercise without food or water. The Beech A-35 left Kalispell Saturday, headed for Linden, Washington. Also aboard, Leland and Sharon Bowman of Marion, Montana. Missoula police are investigating an assault that occurred over the weekend against a woman who was jogging through a local park. Public Information Officer Travis Welsh has more.
The victim was jogging on the trail in the park and at one point felt something hard strike her in the back of the head, and it caused her to stumble and fall down. And soon after, right after, there was a male on top of her who pinned her to the ground.
Welsh said the victim provided the following description of her assailant.
The suspect is described as a male, 18 to 20 years of age. She said he had short blonde hair, was clean shaven. She described him as having a small to average build and said he was wearing a short sleeve red athletic shirt of some kind with white stitching.
Welsh said the suspect is still at large, and anyone who may know of his whereabouts has to contact Detective Mitch Lang at the Police Department, 552-6300. Authorities have called off a search for a 2-year-old boy who wandered off from his family's campsite near Timber Creek Reservoir in Idaho. The search for Dora Coons was called off Sunday after search and rescue members were unable to locate the boy after surveying a 2-mile radius of the campsite. It remains unclear whether the search might be resumed later. Dr. J. Palmatier, Ph.D., a psychologist with the Missoula Mental Health Center, has been charged in Missoula Justice Court with one count of sexual abuse of children for allegedly possessing child pornography. Deputy Missoula County Attorney Jennifer Clark said the charges were filed in late June in Missoula Justice Court.
So in June of this year, Detective Shermer from the City Police Department received a tip from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children where they had received information from Google about a child pornography photograph on an email.
Clark said the investigation eventually led to the suspect.
Subsequent investigation showed that that email belonged to J. Palmatier, and he was eventually charged with possession of child pornography. The actual charge is called sexual abuse of children, and it's under the subsection for possession of material.
Clark said the maximum penalty for the felony count of sexual abuse of children is 10 years in prison with a fine of up to $10,000. The case was filed in Missoula District Court July 10th, and an arraignment date will likely be later this week or early next week. The Attorney General is restructuring the state medical examiner's office, in part to address concerns that a contract medical examiner in Billings continued to do autopsies on babies and young children for years, despite demands from the chief medical examiner that he stop. The Missoulian newspaper reports Dr. Gary Dale repeatedly told Thomas Bennett to quit performing autopsies on children, saying his findings risked wrongful prosecution or could jeopardize legitimate cases. Bennett had made at least 4 questionable findings of shaken baby syndrome while working as chief medical examiner in Iowa in the 1990s. Dale and Deputy Medical Examiner Walter Kemp recently resigned. Bennett declined comment. Shots were fired near Bonner early Monday morning. The Missoula County Sheriff's Office investigating the incident. Public Information Officer Brenda Bassett said the alleged incident actually started in Missoula.
There is a dispute that started in town at Malibu Nights Casino, and we believe, that it started there and then eventually moved out to Highway 200 at Two Rivers Bank.
Bassett explained how the investigation began.
Deputies responded out there for shots fired, and when they got out there, they had reports that somebody had shot at a vehicle, but this time they're still investigating, but they haven't found any shell casings or anything like that.
Bassett said no one was injured. Anyone who may have witnessed the incident asked to contact the sheriff's office, that number 258-4810, to speak with one of their detectives. Lewis and Clark County prosecutors are reevaluating the charges filed against a 25-year-old Helena man after his girlfriend's 2-year-old daughter died of injuries suffered while in his care. The Independent Record newspaper reports Colton Christos Coburn was arrested Sunday on suspicion of attempted deliberate homicide. Captain Kurt Stinson said the girl died of her injuries on Monday. Court records say Coburn called his girlfriend to report the girl had a seizure. Coburn denied hurting her and told officers she likely climbed on some boxes and fell. He made his initial appearance in Justice Court Monday on the attempted deliberate homicide charge. He did not enter a plea. Coburn also faces charges of obstructing a peace officer and possession of marijuana. Yesterday, fire officials changed the fire danger level, reducing it from extreme down to high. Director of Emergency Management Adrian Beck said because the weather helped fire danger levels does not mean people should not continue to be cautious outdoors.
Really, it's a testament to what a little bit of rain can do, but we need to acknowledge that it was just a little bit of rain and that a lot more is needed to substantially change our outcome. We do still have Stage 1 restrictions in the Missoula area, and so all of those restrictions and all of those activities that were previously in place continue to be in place because the area is still very dry, and this rain will help the situation, but only for a limited time.
So what does it mean for previous talk about Stage 2 restrictions?
So I think, we will always kind of have that on our back burner as an option, and as the conditions continue to change, we'll continually evaluate that as the season continues. We are still seeing very dry conditions out there, and while the rain was very helpful and we're very appreciative of it, it still puts us into a situation where we could see Stage 2 restrictions in the future.
Beck says if July weather continues to be hot, extreme fire levels will be put back into effect. Our News Talk time now is 6:12.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Partly sunny skies today with a chance of a shower or thunderstorm this afternoon. High temperatures will top out right around the 80-degree mark. Tonight, we drop back into the mid-50s with highs in the mid-80s on Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.